The ship landed quietly on the metal platform of the colony. Its hull shone under the pale light of the alien sun. Workers paused what they were doing, their eyes drawn to the sleek, silver craft. Everyone knew who it belonged to. The richest man on this side of human space had arrived. Darren stepped out. He was tall, dressed in dark clothes that gave him a sharp, commanding look. His face was stern, his eyes cold. He walked as though nothing around him mattered. For years, people had whispered his name with both fear and respect. He was the man who owned mines, factories, and trade routes. But those who looked closer saw no warmth in his expression. He was powerful, but he was also distant. Behind him came guards carrying heavy cases. They followed their master with quiet steps. No one dared speak to him. People only bowed their heads, hoping not to be noticed. Darren was not cruel, but he was known for being hard. He did not like weakness. Yet in his private home, far from the eyes of workers, there lived his daughter, Lena. She was young, kind, and gentle. But she had been born blind. Her eyes were pale, unable to see the world around her. To many, it seemed like a curse. To Darren, it was a wound he could not heal, and so he locked his heart away from her. He gave her everything money could buy: fine clothes, music machines, even healers from across the stars, but he gave her little of himself. In that large, silent home there was also Myra, the maid. She was different from the others who worked for Darren. Where he was cold, she was warm. Where he was distant, she was close. Myra had cared for Lena since the girl was small, teaching her to walk with confidence, guiding her hand to feel the world, and telling her stories to brighten her days. To Lena, Myra was more than a servant, she was a friend, almost a second mother. That day, after his arrival, Darren walked through the long hall of his mansion. His steps echoed on the marble floor. He expected silence, for silence was what he liked. But as he entered the central room, he froze. Music was playing. It was soft, flowing, like water over smooth stones. And in the middle of the wide floor, Myra held Lena's hands. The maid was leading her in slow, graceful steps, turning and guiding with patience. Lena's face was full of joy. She could not see the room, but she smiled as if she could see the stars. She laughed softly when her foot missed a step, and Myra laughed with her, steadying her. For a long moment, Darren stood still. The scene felt strange to him, almost unreal. He had spent years hiding Lena away, trying to forget the pain of her blindness. Yet here she was, moving with lightness, as though she carried no burden at all. Myra noticed him first. She stopped, bowing slightly. "Sir," she said carefully. Lena tilted her head. She could not see him, but she knew his footsteps. "Father." Her voice was small, uncertain. Darren cleared his throat. His cold mask returned. "What is this?" he asked. His voice carried no anger, but it was hard and sharp. Myra lowered her eyes. "Only a dance, sir. She enjoys the music. It helps her move with confidence." Lena reached forward, searching for his presence. "Father, Myra is teaching me. I can feel the rhythm. I can almost see it." Her words trembled with hope. For an instant, Darren felt something stir inside him. A memory of his wife, long gone, who once loved music and dancing. But he pushed it away. He turned his gaze from Lena's smiling face. "Enough for today," he said flatly. "There is work to be done. Do not waste time." The joy in Lena's face dimmed, though she tried to keep her smile. Myra gently placed a hand on her shoulder. The maid said nothing, but her eyes followed Darren as he left the room. Later that night, Darren stood on the balcony of his mansion, looking over the colony. Lights blinked across the settlement where workers and families lived their small lives. Beyond the walls lay the alien wilderness, dark and endless. He told himself that he had no time for weakness. Yet the image of Lena dancing with Myra stayed in his mind. He had seen many things in his life: ships destroyed in trade wars, men crushed by greed, planets stripped bare of resources. None of it had touched him. But the simple sound of his daughter laughing as she danced had left a mark he could not ignore. Darren clenched his fist. He told himself it meant nothing. He told himself he must remain strong, cold, untouchable. Still, in the quiet night, with only the alien stars above, he felt a small crack form in the walls around his heart. And he did not yet know that this small moment, the dance of a blind girl and a kind maid, would change everything when the storm of war finally reached them. The colony was calm on the surface, but underneath, whispers moved like hidden winds. Traders who came from the outer systems brought news of danger. They spoke of the Draxel, alien raiders who traveled in sharp, black ships that cut through space like knives. They took colonies, stripped them of resources, and left ruins behind. In the market square, people spoke in low voices. "The Draxel are moving closer," one said. "They already destroyed 2 mining stations." Another shook his head. "We must be careful. But maybe the rich man, Darren, will protect us. He has money. He has ships." But money could not stop everything. Inside the mansion, Lena sat in her quiet room. She listened to the music machine Myra had set to play. Soft notes filled the air. Lena turned her face toward the sound, her eyes unfocused yet filled with warmth. Myra entered, carrying a tray of fruit. She placed it down and watched the girl sway slightly with the rhythm. "You like music too much," Myra teased gently. "It lets me see," Lena answered. "Not with my eyes, but with my heart." She smiled. Myra touched her hand. "You are stronger than you think." Lena tilted her head. "Do you think my father believes that?" Myra hesitated. She wanted to answer carefully. "Your father shows strength in a different way. His heart is guarded. But even stone can crack if struck in the right place." Lena sighed. "He never looks at me for long. I think he only sees what I cannot do, not what I can." Myra held her close, wishing she could shield the girl from that pain. That evening, Darren sat at a long table filled with reports. His trade lines were running well, and his factories worked without pause. Wealth flowed in like rivers. To him, numbers were safer than emotions. But his attention broke when his chief advisor entered. "Sir, word from the outer colonies," the man said quickly. "The Draxel have destroyed another outpost. The survivors say they are moving toward this sector." Darren frowned. "Let them come. I can pay mercenaries. I can buy protection." "Sir, forgive me," the advisor said nervously, "but money may not stop them. The Draxel are not traders. They do not bargain. They take." Darren waved him away. "I do not fear raiders. This colony is mine. No one dares touch it." But when the advisor left, doubt pricked at his mind. He remembered Lena's laughter from the dance. He had pushed it aside, but it returned like an echo. What would happen if the Draxel came here? Would money still matter? Later that night, as Myra prepared Lena for sleep, the girl asked, "Myra, what are stars like? Can you describe them?" Myra smiled softly. "They are small lights in a dark sky, shining far away. Some are gentle, some burn bright. People say each one is a story waiting to be told." Lena turned her face upward, though she could not see. "Do you think I will ever see them?" Myra brushed her hair gently. "You already see them. You see them in a way others cannot." At that moment, Darren stood silently at the doorway. He had come to check on his daughter but did not step inside. He heard her soft voice, her questions about the stars, her hope. Something heavy pressed in his chest. He turned away before Myra noticed him. The next morning, more rumors spread. A damaged freighter limped into the colony docks. Its crew, shaken and half-starved, carried tales of Draxel ships. "They are close," one survivor said with wide eyes. "Their fleet is not like anything we've seen. They cut through defenses like paper." Fear spread through the colony. Families began storing supplies. Some whispered of leaving before it was too late. But many had nowhere to go. In the mansion, Myra heard the servants murmuring about the raiders. She kept her face calm, but her heart was worried. She found Darren in his office and spoke carefully. "Sir, the Draxel are coming closer. We should prepare." Darren barely looked up. "I will handle it. Keep the girl calm. Do not trouble her with such things." Myra frowned slightly. "She is stronger than you think. Perhaps stronger than you." His eyes hardened. "Do not speak of things you do not understand. My wealth will protect us." But Myra left knowing he was lying to himself. Wealth was a wall of sand against a rising storm. That night, when the mansion was quiet, Lena whispered to Myra, "I hear people speaking. Something is wrong, isn't it?" Myra hesitated, then nodded. "Yes. Raiders may come. But you must not fear. Humans have faced danger before." Lena straightened. Her pale eyes, though blind, seemed filled with fire. "If danger comes, I will not hide. I want to help. I want to show my father I am not weak." Myra's heart ached with pride. She held Lena close, whispering, "One day, he will see. The whole world will see." Far away in the darkness of space, Draxel ships moved like shadows, cutting through the void. And though the colony still slept in fragile peace, the storm was drawing near. The day began like any other. The sun of the alien world rose slowly, casting long shadows across the colony. Workers went to the mines, traders opened their stalls, and children played in the dusty streets. But the calm did not last. At noon, alarms rang out. A sharp, metallic sound filled the air, cutting through every street, every home. People froze in fear. They had heard stories of these alarms, but none had believed the day would come so soon. "Draxel," someone shouted. "The Draxel are here." From the sky, black shapes descended. The alien ships were jagged, their surfaces glowing with strange red lights. They moved with frightening speed, diving toward the colony like hunting birds. Panic spread. Families ran for cover, workers abandoned their tools, and guards rushed to prepare weak defenses. The colony was not built for war. It had walls and turrets, but nothing compared to the strength of the raiders. Inside the mansion, Darren stood at the balcony, his eyes hard as stone. He watched the ships approach, his mind racing. He had always believed wealth could solve every problem. But here was an enemy that cared nothing for gold. He turned quickly. "Guards! Prepare the defense lines. Activate the shield generators." Servants scattered in fear. Some obeyed, others only prayed. In the center hall, Lena sat with Myra. She could not see the dark shapes in the sky, but she felt something heavy in the air. A deep vibration filled the ground, shaking her heart. "Myra," she whispered, clutching the maid's hand, "they are here, aren't they?" Myra nodded, her face pale. "Yes, child. But we will be safe. Trust me." Lena tilted her head. "I can feel them moving. They are spreading wide, circling us. They are hunting." Myra froze. "How do you know that?" "I don't know," Lena whispered. "But I feel their steps in the air, like ripples in water. I hear their wings, though they have none. I know where they are." Myra's eyes widened. Could the girl truly sense the Draxel? Outside, The first strike began. Blasts of red energy rained down, shaking the colony walls. Turrets fired back, but their shots barely scratched the alien ships. Explosions tore through the outer buildings. People screamed, running for shelter. Darren stormed into the command room of his mansion, where screens showed the battle outside. His advisors looked terrified. "They're breaking through the east wall," one shouted. "Our weapons can't hold them," cried another. Darren's jaw tightened. "Send reinforcements to the east. Double the power to the shields." But the shields flickered. The Draxel weapons cut through like blades through cloth. Myra led Lena toward the shelter below the mansion, but Lena pulled back. "No," she said firmly. "We cannot just hide. Father needs help. The people need help." "You are only a girl," Myra said, her voice shaking. "I am not only blind," Lena answered. "I can feel where they move. I can guide them." Myra stared at her, torn between fear and faith. Moments later, a group of frightened colonists ran into the mansion, chased by falling debris. Myra quickly took charge, guiding them down safe passages. Lena, standing tall despite her blindness, spoke with strange certainty. "Not that way," she said. "The roof will fall there. Go left, down the lower hall." The people hesitated but obeyed. Just as they turned, part of the ceiling crashed down where they had been. Gasps filled the air. Myra looked at Lena with awe. "You saved them," she whispered. Lena only nodded, her pale eyes glowing with quiet strength. Meanwhile, Darren fought to keep order. He watched the screens as more Draxel poured in. The colony guards fell back, outnumbered and outgunned. Refugees rushed toward the inner walls. For the first time in his life, Darren felt powerless. Then a voice cut through the noise. Lena's voice. "Father." He turned, surprised to see Myra leading her into the command room. "Why are you here? This is not safe." But Lena stood firm. "You cannot fight them with money. You cannot fight them with pride. Listen to me, I can feel where they move. I can guide your defenses." The advisors exchanged doubtful glances. Darren frowned, torn between disbelief and desperation. "Impossible," he said. Lena raised her chin. "Test me. Ask where they strike next." For a moment, the room was silent. Then an advisor spoke. "They are regrouping, but we don't know from where." Lena closed her eyes, listening to the vibrations in the air, the rhythm of distant explosions. "The west," she said softly. "They come from the west in 3 waves. The first wave will break the shield there. The second will strike the turrets. The third will enter on foot." Darren stared at her. Could she truly know? Moments later, reports came in. "The west wall is under attack." 3 waves, exactly as she said. The room went silent. All eyes turned to Lena. Myra placed her hand on the girl's shoulder. "She is not weak. She is stronger than all of us." Darren's cold mask cracked. For the first time, he saw his daughter not as fragile, but as something more. The battle outside raged on. But inside, a new truth had been revealed. The blind girl could see what others could not. And perhaps, she was the only hope the colony had. The west wall of the colony shook under heavy fire. Explosions thundered across the ground, and smoke rose like dark towers into the sky. The people inside the command room listened to the reports with fear. But Lena stood quietly, her pale eyes closed, her head tilted as if listening to something no one else could hear. "The Draxel are spreading," she said softly. "Some are moving under the shield. They are trying to dig." The advisors gasped. One checked the scanners, his hands shaking. "She is right. They are tunneling beneath us." Darren stared at his daughter. For years, he had thought her blindness made her weak. But now, before his eyes, she showed strength none of his soldiers had. She felt what machines failed to detect. "How do you know this?" he asked, his voice hard but not cold anymore. "I don't know," Lena admitted. "I hear the world in ways others do not. The ground speaks, the air trembles. I can feel their steps even when they are hidden." Myra stood beside her, proud and calm. "I told you, sir. She is stronger than she appears." Darren turned to his officers. "Send the guards to the tunnel, seal them before the Draxel break through." The officers moved at once. And when the report came back that the tunnels had indeed been destroyed, all eyes returned to Lena with awe. The news spread quickly across the colony. People whispered about the blind girl who could sense the enemy. Fear began to change into hope. Families hiding in shelters spoke her name like a promise. But the Draxel did not stop. Their ships circled above, pouring fire onto the shields. The walls cracked under the pressure. Refugees crowded the streets, crying for safety. Inside the mansion, Darren stood by the window, watching the burning horizon. His empire of wealth meant nothing now. All the credits in his accounts could not buy peace. For the first time in his life, he felt the weight of helplessness. Then he heard laughter. He turned and saw Lena, sitting calmly with Myra. The girl's face was tired, but she smiled as Myra guided her hand over a small map of the colony. Together, they touched the lines of streets, walls, and towers. "Here," Lena said, pointing with confidence. "The Draxel will strike next here, on the north side. They are circling wide." Darren stepped closer, his voice uncertain. "Are you sure?" Lena lifted her chin. "I am not guessing, father. I feel them. They are heavy in the air, like storm clouds waiting to break." He stared at her, silent. For the first time, he believed her without doubt. Minutes later, reports came in exactly as she said. The north side was under attack. Soldiers rushed to defend it in time, preventing a full breach. The advisors could not hide their amazement. One whispered, "She is our shield." Another murmured, "Perhaps, she is the reason we still stand." Darren's cold heart trembled. He looked at his daughter, truly looked at her, and saw not weakness but light. He had been blind, not her. That night, when the battle slowed, the mansion grew quiet again. Myra tucked Lena into bed, humming a soft tune. Darren stood at the doorway, as he had many nights before. But this time, he did not turn away. "Lena," he said softly. She turned her face toward him. "Yes, father. You saved lives today." "I saw it." Her smile grew. "I only listened. The world speaks, if you pay attention." He stepped inside, sitting beside her for the first time in years. "I was wrong," he admitted. "I thought you were fragile. But you are stronger than I will ever be." Lena reached out, her small hand finding his. "You are strong too, father. But strength is not coldness. It is love, even when it hurts." For a long time, he sat in silence, holding her hand. Outside, Myra watched quietly. She saw the change in Darren's eyes. The walls around his heart were breaking. But the war was not over. At dawn, the Draxel launched another attack. This time, they sent troops on the ground, towering figures with armor that shimmered like steel. They stormed through the broken outer wall, scattering defenders. Panic spread again. Yet Lena stood firm in the command room. She gave orders with calm certainty, guiding soldiers where to strike, warning them where the Draxel would appear. Her strange gift turned chaos into strategy. Step by step, the humans began to fight back. Myra became her voice, carrying Lena's warnings to the soldiers, while Darren commanded with new resolve. The three of them, father, daughter, and maid, formed an unbroken chain of strength. By nightfall, the Draxel pulled back, their forces damaged and slowed. The colony still stood. The people cheered, not for wealth or weapons, but for a blind girl who could see beyond sight. They whispered her name like a secret flame, Lena, the listener. And in the quiet after the battle, Darren looked out at the wounded colony and understood something he had never known before. His fortune had built walls and towers, but it was his daughter who had built hope. The shocking truth was clear now: not the Draxel's strength, not the failure of wealth, but the hidden power of humanity itself. Even in weakness, humans found ways to fight. Even in darkness, they created light. And the galaxy, though it did not yet know, would soon learn this truth as well. The colony carried scars from the attack. Buildings lay broken, smoke drifted in the air, and families mourned the ones they had lost. Yet the people were not broken. For the first time, they had hope. That hope had a name: Lena. Word spread quickly. Farmers, miners, and workers spoke of the blind girl who had sensed the Draxel before the scanners. Soldiers whispered of how she had guided them to victory when all seemed lost. And Myra, who never left her side, became known as the voice that carried Lena's warnings through the chaos. Darren watched this with silent amazement. His daughter, whom he had once hidden in shame, now stood at the center of everything. And the people believed in her more than they believed in him. One morning, in the command room, Darren gathered his officers. Maps of the colony lay on the table, marked with red lines showing Draxel movements. The men and women around him looked tired, their eyes hollow from sleepless nights. "We cannot hold forever," one said. "Their ships will return with more firepower. If they break the shield again, we are finished." Another added, "We need allies. We must send for help." Darren shook his head. "No one will come. We are too far. We are alone." The words hung heavy in the air. But then Lena stepped forward, Myra guiding her hand to the map. "Alone does not mean weak," Lena said. Her voice was soft, yet everyone turned to listen. "The Draxel think humans are fragile. But we can be clever. We can be strong in ways they do not expect." Darren watched her carefully. "What do you suggest?" She touched the map, tracing the routes with her fingers. "Their ships are fast, but they move in patterns. I can feel them. If we set traps in the right places, we can slow them down. Use the mines, the machines, the drones you hide away, Father. Do not let them sleep in storage. Let them fight with us." The officers exchanged uncertain glances. Old war drones had been left in warehouses, forgotten after years of peace. They were outdated, but still useful. Darren nodded slowly. "Prepare the drones. Arm them. Every machine we have will fight." The colony stirred with new purpose. Workers repaired the drones, painting them with fresh symbols of hope. Children carried food to the soldiers. Families rebuilt defenses together. And at the center of it all was Lena, her pale eyes glowing with determination. She listened to the air, to the ground, to the rhythm of the enemy. Each time she spoke, Myra passed her words to the commanders. Step by step, the colony turned from fear to defiance. When the Draxel returned, they found a different enemy waiting. The black ships swept in with their usual fury, but this time drones rose to meet them. Dozens of machines filled the sky, firing streams of light. They were old, but they fought with precision, guided by Lena's warnings. "Left flank!" Lena cried, standing in the command room. "3 ships dive low." Myra shouted the order, and the drones turned. Energy beams struck, tearing into Draxel armor. On the ground, soldiers fought with new strength. Myra herself led groups of refugees to safety, her calm voice steadying their fear. She was no longer only a maid, she was a leader. Darren stood at the center, commanding the defenses with a voice stronger than ever before. He no longer relied on wealth or mercenaries, he relied on his people. For the first time, he understood what true power meant. The battle lasted hours. When it ended, Draxel's ships retreated once more, leaving wreckage behind. Cheers rose across the colony. For the first time, victory did not feel impossible. That night, the people gathered in the square. Fires lit the broken streets, casting warm light on tired faces. A soldier raised his voice. "To the girl who saved us," he cried. "To Lena." Voices echoed. "Lena! Lena! Lena!" Lena stood beside Myra, holding her hand. She could not see the crowd, but she felt their voices like thunder in her heart. She smiled, though tears shone in her eyes. Darren stepped forward, his cold mask gone. "You do not cheer only for her," he said loudly. "You cheer for what she reminds us: we are human. We fight not because we are strong in body, but because we do not give up. That is what the Draxel will never understand." The crowd roared with agreement. Later, when the noise faded, Darren sat with Lena and Myra in the quiet garden of the mansion. The stars above shimmered faintly in the alien sky. "You were right," Darren admitted. "Money cannot protect us. Only unity can. Only courage." Lena leaned against him. "And love, Father. Do not forget love." For the first time in years, Darren held her close. His cold heart was gone, replaced by something warmer. But in the distance, the Draxel were not finished. They gathered their fleets, angry at their defeats. They would come again, stronger, with the full might of their armada. The colony had won a battle. But the true war was only beginning. And when it came, the Draxel would learn what it meant to fight humans who refused to bow. The night sky above the colony burned with red light. Draxel ships filled the horizon, hundreds of them, moving like a storm ready to crush everything in their path. The colony's walls, though repaired, looked fragile under the looming threat. People huddled inside shelters, listening to the hum of weapons and the distant roar of engines. Darren stood on the balcony, his hands clenched tightly on the railing. He had faced many challenges in his life: corporate wars, pirates, and political rivals, but nothing like this. Here, wealth meant nothing. Here, every life depended on courage, intelligence, and unity. Beside him, Myra prepared Lena. "Stay close," she whispered. "The battle will be hard, but your gift will guide us." Lena nodded. Her pale eyes were calm, yet they glowed with a strange power. "I can feel them," she said softly. "They are strong, but not clever. They move like the wind, but the wind has patterns. I can see their path." Darren looked at her, his voice steady but full of emotion. "Then show us the path. Lead us, Lena." Inside the command room, soldiers manned turrets and monitored scanners. Lena stood on a small platform, feeling vibrations from the ground, the walls, and even the air around the colony. Myra passed her instructions to the soldiers, while Darren coordinated defenses and moved drones into position. The first wave of Draxel ships dove low, firing energy blasts at the shields. Explosions lit the night, shaking buildings. For a moment, it seemed impossible to hold. But Lena spoke. "Left flank. 3 ships dive low. Send the drones." The soldiers reacted immediately. Drones rose into the sky, firing beams of light guided by Lena's warnings. 2 ships were destroyed before they could reach the shields. A third attempted to escape, but Lena predicted its path and directed a turret to intercept it. On the ground, Draxel troops landed, their armor glowing with strange energy. They moved quickly, cutting through weak defenses. Panic threatened to spread again. But Myra led the civilians, guiding them to safe zones with calm precision. She organized them into small groups that helped carry supplies to soldiers and repair broken defenses. Step by step, human ingenuity turned chaos into order. Darren fought alongside his people, not with wealth but with courage. He directed troops to defend weak points, guided reinforcements, and personally took control of a drone squadron. Every command he gave was calculated and precise, but he did so with one thought in mind: protect Lena and the colony. Hours passed. The sky filled with explosions, beams of light, and the hum of engines. Draxel ships attempted to overwhelm the colony, but Lena continued to predict their movements. Each time they adjusted, she spoke. Shift to the right. They are coming faster now. Focus on the center. Soldiers followed her words, moving like one body, striking where the Draxel were weakest. Slowly, the tide began to turn. Ships were destroyed. Troops fell back. The Draxel's confidence faltered. Then came the final wave. The largest ships descended, their armor dark and immense. They carried their most powerful weapons, designed to crush defenses in a single strike. Darren's hands shook, but his face remained determined. He looked at Lena. "Can you guide us?" he asked. "I can," she said quietly. "But we must all act together. Trust me, Father. Trust each other." Myra placed a hand on Lena's shoulder. "We do." The final battle began. Drones flew in precise formations, turrets fired with perfect timing, and soldiers moved through the streets, defending key points. Lena predicted every strike, warning of weak spots and ambushes. Darren directed counterattacks, combining human strategy with Lena's gift. The Draxel pressed hard, but the humans pressed harder. Every move was anticipated. Every attack blocked or countered. And slowly, inch by inch, the Draxel were pushed back. In the middle of the fight, Darren saw a group of Draxel approaching the command room. Without hesitation, he ran forward, standing between the enemy and Lena. His presence gave the soldiers courage. Together, they fought the intruders, holding the line until reinforcements arrived. By dawn, the sky was quiet. The Draxel ships had retreated, their forces shattered and morale broken. The colony had survived, and the victory was complete. The people cheered. They did not cheer for Darren's wealth or machines. They cheered for courage, unity, and hope. They cheered for Lena, who had guided them with her gift. And they cheered for Myra, whose calm leadership had kept everyone alive. Darren finally looked at his daughter and the maid beside her. "You have changed everything," he said softly. "You showed me what true strength is. Not wealth, not machines, but heart, courage, and unity." Lena smiled. "We are humans, Father. We fight together, even in the darkest times. That is our power." Myra nodded. "And that is what the Draxel never expected." The sun rose slowly over the battered colony. Smoke still curled into the sky, but hope shone brighter than any fire. Humanity had faced a storm, and it had not only survived, it had won. Darren realized that nothing would ever be the same. He had lost his old, cold heart and gained a new one, full of pride, love, and courage. The galaxy had seen the first true strength of humans on this world. And the Draxel would remember it forever. The colony was quiet at last. Smoke still rose from broken walls, and some buildings were damaged beyond repair. But the people were alive. Families hugged each other in the streets, laughter and tears mixing together. The Draxel were gone, at least for now, and the survivors were free to rebuild. In the center of the colony, Lena sat under a tree in the small garden behind the mansion. Myra stood beside her, holding her hand. For the first time in weeks, Lena could rest. The battle was over, but its memory would remain. "Do you hear them?" Myra whispered. "I do," Lena said softly. "They are talking, cheering. They are happy. I feel it." From the street, people began gathering. Word had spread of Lena's courage and Myra's leadership. Men, women, and even children came to see the girl who had guided them through fire and destruction. They called her the listener, the blind girl who could see. Darren stepped forward, no longer cold or distant. He walked slowly, his eyes soft as he looked at his daughter. "Lena," he said, "you have given the colony something more than survival. You have given it hope. You have given it life." Lena turned her face toward him, smiling. "We all helped, Father. Every person in this colony fought together. That is why we won." Darren nodded. "Still, it was your gift that saved everyone. I am proud of you." Myra squeezed Lena's hand gently. "And I am proud of both of you. You showed what humans can do when they believe in each other." Children ran up to Lena, touching her hands, asking questions about how she saw the enemy. Soldiers stood nearby, nodding in respect. Even the older villagers, who had doubted her at first, now bowed their heads with admiration. Later, Darren called a meeting of all the leaders in the colony. He stood at the head of the table, no longer as a cold billionaire, but as a father and protector. "We have survived because we worked together," he said. "Money cannot protect us, weapons alone cannot protect us, but humans can protect humans. That is our true power. Today, we have shown the galaxy what it means to fight with courage, with heart, and with unity." Myra spoke next. "The Draxel will remember us, and others will too. We must rebuild wisely, help each other, and teach our children what we have learned. Strength is in knowledge, courage, and care for one another." The people nodded. The lesson was clear. No one would forget the events of this battle. The colony, though scarred, was stronger than before. As evening came, Lena and Myra walked through the streets. The fires in the square had burned down, leaving warm, glowing embers. People smiled and waved, showing gratitude in small ways. Lena could not see the faces, but she felt their joy and relief. "Do you think they will return?" Lena asked quietly. "They may," Myra said. "But now we are ready. We are stronger, smarter, and united. Nothing can surprise us again." Darren joined them, placing a hand on Lena's shoulder. "We will be ready, daughter. And even if the Draxel come again, we will show them that humans are never easy to defeat." For the first time, Darren allowed himself to enjoy the quiet. He no longer felt the cold emptiness he had carried for so long. He felt connection, pride, and hope. His daughter had not only saved lives, she had changed him. Later, Lena stood under the tree, reaching out her hands as Myra guided her in a small dance. She could not see the ground, but she felt it beneath her feet. The rhythm of her body matched the rhythm of the colony, of life itself. Darren watched quietly from a distance. He realized that this simple moment, a dance between a girl and her mentor, was a symbol of everything humans had become. Resilient, united, and full of life. Stories of the battle spread quickly across nearby systems. Traders, travelers, and messengers carried the tale of the blind girl, her loyal guide, and the cold father who had learned to love. Aliens whispered in awe and fear, "Humans, they are not weak. Even their weakest can see what others cannot. Even their blind can guide an army." The Draxel would remember the lesson for years to come. Humans were unpredictable, clever, and full of hidden strength. And this colony, small and battered, had proven it. As night fell, the stars above shone brighter than before. Lena lifted her face toward the sky, smiling as if she could see every one of them. Myra stood beside her, proud. And Darren, standing behind them, finally understood that wealth, power, and fear were never as strong as courage, unity, and love. The colony had survived. Humanity had won. And the legacy of the dance, the blind girl, the loyal maid, and the once cold father would be remembered across the stars as a story of hope, strength, and the power of the human heart. In a universe that had underestimated them, humans had proven once again that they were more than survivors, they were unstoppable.